This was an act of terrorism. It was premeditated and an evil act. We do not assess at this point that anyone else involved in this attack is involved in this attack except for Shamsuddin Jabbar, the subject you've already been briefed on.
That was a news conference earlier today. Authorities now say they believe that the suspect, Shamsuddin Jabbar, acted alone, and there's nothing that indicates that anyone else was involved. They also say there does not appear to be a definitive link between what happened in New Orleans and the Cybertruck explosion out in Las Vegas. Also today, Bourbon Street has since reopened. Crews spent the early morning hours cleaning and pressure washing the streets there. And the Sugar Bowl football game, originally scheduled for last night, well, it kicked off this afternoon. In fact, here is a live picture from Bourbon Street. You can see people walking up and down in that area. It appears to be business as usual, although we are less than 48 hours removed from that act of terror there. In terms of the investigation, that is continuing at full force right now. And even though Bourbon Street has since reopened, as you saw, there are some changes. Barricades were moved into place earlier today as part of stepped up security efforts there along the French Quarter. The FBI also laid out the timeline for the suspect, Shamsuddin Jabbar, who was killed during a shootout with police.
Jabbar picked up the rented F-150 in Houston, Texas on December 30th. He then drove from Houston to New Orleans on the evening of the 31st, and he posted several videos to an online platform proclaiming his support for ISIS.
Now, even though investigators say they believe Jabbar acted alone, there are still questions about why he targeted Bourbon Street and New Orleans. Right now, that remains unclear. Here at home, San Antonio is preparing for several big events that are set to take place over the next couple of months. The annual MLK March is a little over 2 weeks away, and there's also the men's Final Four, which will take place in April. And then our biggest party of the year, Fiesta, is scheduled for the last week of April and into the month of May. But will security for these big events be any different? News 4 San Antonio's Mariah Medina asked the city's police chief whether any possible changes could be in the work. Mariah?
Jonathan, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus told me that just this morning he personally called on DPS and the FBI to ensure they're all collaborating on security for the MLK March. But he says that collaboration exists before and during any major event in the Alamo City.
I know everybody's on edge because in New Orleans it always is a stark wake-up call when something like that happens. Most oftentimes people think, not here, not now, not me. But you never know, and we're always aware of that, and we always want to be ready for that.
San Antonio police putting the public at ease as the city readies for a series of major events sure to draw visitors from across the country.
I always reach out to our state partners and our federal partners before any big event to make sure that we're going to be working together. They know what we know what they know, and everything that we do is coordinated with them.
The first of which the city's MLK March, which is among the largest in the country. The crowd size making it a security concern. And with the terrorist attacks in Las Vegas and New Orleans, both targeting high traffic areas, Chief McManus says the public can rest assured they're doubling down, not taking any chances here.
We plan for the worst and hope for the best. Hope that nothing happens, but if it does, then we are ready for it.
And as these events approach, we can expect to see some of those security efforts taking shape, from road closures to a larger police presence. But the chief says that's in addition to other security measures we might not be able to see with our own eyes, including their intelligence gathering units at the Fusion Center and the Joint Terrorism Task Force investigators. Reporting in the Content Center, I'm Mariah Medina.
All right, Mariah, thank you for that. Now take a look at this video also out in New Orleans. It shows SWAT officers at an Airbnb there. It's unknown if it's connected to the Bourbon Street attack in any way. Officers could be seen evacuating neighbors in that particular area after a fire was reported at that Airbnb. The cause of that fire remains under investigation, but authorities could be seen in that area marking evidence. Now, our sister station out in Beaumont talked to the brother of Shamsuddin Jabbar today. Jabbar was born and raised in the Beaumont area, and after getting out of the Army, he moved to Houston. His father and brother, though, they still live in Beaumont, and today Abdur Jabbar said his brother was kind and caring, a description completely opposite to how the world knows him now.
This is completely out of character for him, you know, these actions. And they're also not any type of representation of what it means to be a Muslim.
During today's interview, Abdul-Jabbar did not want to show his face due to fear of potential anti-Muslim backlash. Now, officials in New Orleans reopened Bourbon Street today to pedestrians following yesterday's attack. Workers were on site earlier today pressure washing the streets there. The streets were filled with people celebrating the new year. Meantime, the Sugar Bowl, as we mentioned, was postponed in the aftermath of the attack. It was slated to be played last night, but was rescheduled for today. Now, security experts say New Orleans will have to be ready for other big events that are coming up. Not only is today's Sugar Bowl being held right now, the Super Bowl is scheduled for February there. Mardi Gras scheduled for March. Experts say attendees can expect to see a larger police presence.
I think you will see law enforcement project out what timelines look like. I think fans or those that are attending large-scale events need to pay attention to what recommended timelines are.
Now, there will also likely be more behind-the-scenes security boosts like online threat management and cameras. Experts recommend anyone attending any of these events to get there early and follow whatever protocols that are in place. Now to the latest on the truck explosion out of Las Vegas. Right now, authorities say there is no definitive link between that incident and what happened in New Orleans. But we did learn today that the person who died in the Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas was an active duty member of the U.S. Army. At a news conference this afternoon, authorities showed a picture of a man. The military ID of 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger was found inside of that burned out Cybertruck. But the body was so badly burned, it has not been confirmed that the body is that of Livelsberger yet.
Now, further complicating this identification of this individual, we also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle.
They also say that they believe he shot himself before that explosion and that one of the guns found inside the truck was at the body's feet. Earlier in the day, authorities said the suspect was an active duty member of the Army and was a highly decorated Green Beret who was deployed twice to Afghanistan. We have compiled several stories on the events in New Orleans and out in Las Vegas, and you can find them right now on our News 4 YouTube page. Just search News 4 San Antonio and you'll be able to watch all of our content at any time.